Welcome to the Fortress of Solitude podcast. I'm your host, Sergio Pereira, and I'm joined by Lois, Qutob, and we just saw the Mortal Kombat trailer. Dude, like, I have been waiting like almost 30 years for this.
No, we haven't just watched the trailer. I've watched the trailer a few times. Just on repeat, like open 3 tabs and just like went to the next, get it on repeat the whole time.
It's just like, you know, we've been bemoaning them, saying like, there's been no trailer coming out, and I mean the movie's supposed to come out on the 16th of April, and you know they've just been giving us like these little teasers in terms of photos and obviously the character posters.
Yeah,
and this drops,
dude. And like, wow. And like, you know, you kind of get like a little bit scared, or at least I do, when like a film, you know, is upcoming and the trailer is just is really like far away, or they want to drop it like last minute. I wonder like, what do they have to hide? But like I saw this trailer and I was like, oh dear Lord, like the hype that is going to happen after this.
I know. I mean, the thing is, you know, obviously, I mean, you know by now, and I'm going to name drop here. Like I interviewed Lois obviously. And like, you know, we chatted a bit, and, you know, he was telling me about how, you know, even with the project, he was apprehensive initially because he said, you know, you don't want to stuff up Mortal Kombat. Nobody wants another Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Yeah, you don't want that on your CV.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't want to ruin it for the fans. Like, oh, just another video game adaptation. It sucks.
Yeah,
you don't want that. But like he said, you know, like Simon McCoy, the director, had his really good vision, and I mean the writer Greg Russo as well also had like some interesting things. Yeah. And I really think, like, judging from this trailer, it seems like they understand Mortal Kombat. Like, yes, there are obviously some new things. You know, we know about the whole Cole Young thing. Yeah, it's a new character, but I like how it's incorporated that into the mythology. You know, like with his like birthmark, you know, of the Mortal Kombat dragon. Yeah, and you know that it's going to tie into something. You know, there's going to be a lot more to it. There.
I can appreciate them bringing something new to the mix. I think that's definitely a cool hook. I don't know if everyone feels that way, but for me, it's a big plus.
No, I think it is. But I mean, look, even at the games, if you look at the games since Mortal Kombat 10, they've introduced a whole bunch of new characters like Jackie Briggs and Cassie Cage. Yeah. And those characters have actually become really awesome and part of the series. And you kind of think, wow, you know, they were new characters created. They weren't, you know, the originals. And the thing is, like a franchise needs to evolve. Yeah, you know, that's the most important thing. And I think that's like the ultimate thing with somebody like Cole Young. Obviously, I mean, we don't know. I mean, I've got a feeling that Cole's going to be somebody else by the end of it. But yeah I mean,
most likely. I mean, you know, talking about the trailer, assuming that people have now seen it, you know, there was the dragon, the logo tattoo, you know, on his chest, and I wondered, you know, what that all meant. So I think it's going to be cool unraveling that.
Exactly, and I think he's not just like he's created for the story some protagonist, unnamed protagonist that, you know, through the audience's eyes that they create for a lot of these movies. I think it's actually something like really cool that's going to come out of it. But funny enough, like Cole was not actually the focus of this trailer. Like literally, we got to see everything else around this world. And man, that Scorpion and Sub-Zero fight.
Dude. And did you notice how like the abilities they were using were like straight out of the video game? You know, like from the wall of ice to like all of that stuff.
But did you notice as well, like how there was like the one move, Sub-Zero, like basically like took off his arm and like froze it and like used it as a weapon. I was like, that was ingenious.
Dude, it was nuts.
I was going crazy. And in fact, it's like, you know, then you got like Scorpion, like, you know, sends out, you know, obviously the spear, and he's like, get over here. It's amazing. Dude. It just hit all the right notes for fans. Like, you know, when you're watching that, obviously you want incredible fight scenes. You want, you know, everything to be top notch. Because I mean, that's what you get in the games. I mean, you're playing these games and you're absorbed by it. You know, these guys are martial artists that are like insanely good. And I think that the trailer absolutely nailed that. But the other thing that I also really liked was, they've said that this is going to be R-rated and it's going to be super gory. And, you know, I've been excited for that. And I knew, like, Mortal Kombat, I mean, we know what the game is like. Yeah. I mean, Shao Kahn basically hits somebody's head, like, right out of the ass. So, I mean, we know that is, like, that's what the game is about. Yeah. And I think the part where Sub-Zero freezes Jax's arms and rips him off.
I can't believe they showed that. I mean, because there were rumors about this being a thing, right? Like this being the origin of Jax's arms. I couldn't believe they just straight up showed that in the trailer. I was like, oh.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like, if you're showing that, it's like, oh, we've got a lot more coming. You know, that's literally what it's about. Because the way that they just ripped it off, I was like, oh, okay, because I thought, no, they weren't going to commit to that. I thought, all right, they're going to show a little bit of like freezing, it's just going to freeze and cut, like.
No, I know it's in the trailer as well. It's not like, no, let's keep that for the cinema where people's eyes shame, like, the little children. No, just throw it out on YouTube. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, look, it is a red band trailer.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, look, Mortal Kombat is R-rated. Like, you should not be letting your kid go watch it. So it's like literally like, it's like letting your child watch RoboCop.
I mean, it's pretty much what we grew up on, but we'll not share that as a thing to do.
Yeah, the bad parenting tips. Like that's the next podcast. But yeah, that was completely awesome. And then, I mean, there was one scene with Kano, and he also did that like hard ripping, the hard rip fatality.
Yeah, who was that?
Reptile, dude.
100%.
Because I saw Reptile earlier in like the trailer. You can see him like obviously blending in, and I was like, okay, that's Reptile. And then like if you pause it, like, and I've been doing this to see exactly who it is.
Yeah,
it looks like a reptile creature, and I am presuming that is Reptile.
Sick.
So that's really cool. Other thing though is that means Reptile's dead.
Yeah. But that's what I was wondering, because like when it comes to like Mortal Kombat, right, and fatalities and whatnot, like, characters disappear real quick. So you're thinking by the end of the first tournament, are we like down to half the roster? Like I'm sitting here, I'm like, as much as like you get your heroines, you get your villains, you get your Earthrealm, you get your, but I don't want to see like my favorite villains die too quickly. So I'm sitting here and I'm hoping the fatalities, at least some of them, will just be to like random people we don't care about.
Dude, you know what? FA Cup knockout stage is here. That's what it's about.
But like, they're not sure if they're having a sequel, so it's like, might as well just go all or nothing now.
Well, the plan is obviously that. I think Lois has signed on for 3 movies, if I'm not mistaken. So obviously there are plans to expand this and to include new characters. I mean, I don't think they're going to basically blow their load here with the whole roster from Mortal Kombat. And it's like hundreds of characters. But it's kind of interesting you mention that, because what I think will happen is like, with fatalities. I mean, look at Mortal Kombat. All these people die, in Mortal Kombat 2 and 3 and 4, and they always end up coming back. I mean, this is a world of resurrection and multiple like Earths and universes. I mean, this is
revenge. Can you imagine like the revenge after someone gives you like a brutal fatality? That'll be fantastic to watch.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think it's going to be a problem explaining it away. I mean, in terms of like the fantastical elements of the world, it's super easy to see how it'll come back. But the other thing that I want to talk about is a huge reveal actually in the trailer, which is something that, hasn't been covered before. And it's the first time, we actually see it. And that's Goro.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, when I saw it for the first time, it was just like, oh yeah, but then I actually like rewinded. I was like, hold on a second, because you kind of take it for granted. And when I actually look, he looks amazing.
Yeah, I mean, look, the original movie had him being animatronic puppet, and I thought it looked really cool, and I think it actually stands up still to this day, but apparently it was a nightmare, obviously moving the creature.
Yeah, it was fighting Johnny Cage, right? I remember that.
Yeah. And it's really cool, but like now, obviously CGI, they can do whatever they want, but I thought it's quite interesting because obviously they've kept him a secret, but it's also made me think about it now, like in terms of this actual tournament, the first one.
Yes.
It's essentially going to be, I imagine Goro is going to be like your sub-enemy like he was in the first game.
Like almost champ.
Yeah, and then Shang Tsung is obviously going to be the main one, like the main villain. And obviously, I'd imagine Sub-Zero is going to be one of the villains as well, probably, if not the lead villain, with Shang Tsung, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
And the other thing we saw there was Shao Kahn's statue.
Yeah. Big one.
So that's pretty cool because obviously it signifies, this is Outworld as well, and the character should be coming at some point. I don't necessarily know if he will be the focus for this movie, or if he'll just show up at the end like he kind of did in the first movie. Because look, I'll be honest, I'm okay with them leaving out a couple of characters. I mean, we've had discussions about this before about whether Johnny Cage is or isn't in the movie.
Yeah,
and I'm okay with it if they don't have all these characters because. Also, I don't want it to become like Mortal Kombat Annihilation where like somebody just walks across the screen, oh, look, it's Nightwolf. Oh, bye, Nightwolf.
I mean, like all these characters have so much rich history and mythology to them that, you might as well give them the time to be explored a little bit. I mean, obviously not every character can be such a big deal, but, it's worth taking your time with. And I think the fans, wouldn't mind.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. It's like, if you build up this world properly, you can start showing off more characters. Like, I kind of look at it like what the MCU did, with its characters. It didn't go show you all the Avengers in one go.
Yeah.
So effectively, you started off with like a small batch. Okay, here's Iron Man, here's Hulk, this is Captain America, this is Thor. Then you start introducing like the other characters. Then obviously it's a bigger movie. Obviously, I don't think, Mortal Kombat, we're going to be going towards like an Avengers type of team up.
Yeah.
But what I do think it can do is that it can just slowly start building this world and start exploring, different facets of it.
Yeah.
So, you can focus on these characters. Okay, these are the core like contenders now. Then, say further down the line and you say, all right, cool, let's bring in the likes of Johnny Cage and Sindel and, whoever else.
For sure.
Cyrax and like Sector and all of those sort of characters. So you can do that. And I think that especially if they got the backing of Warner Brothers, they're like, okay, cool. You know what? We are doing the first movie. It's going to be great. Obviously they're hoping to make some money in international theaters and then HBO Max is well received. And then boom, we go into the next one. And I think that'll be really cool to kind of explore this world versus just, stuffing all these characters in like, oh, well, we don't know how many movies we're going to get, so let's just, let's go for the jugular.
Yeah, 100%. And I think doing it the way it's been done, and yes, it's just a trailer. I mean, you can't judge the whole movie by a trailer, but the feeling I'm getting is that it's going to be, the start of something big.
Yeah. Yeah, it does look like that. And I mean, the cool thing is the character designs, I think, look great. I mean, the thing is with obviously something like Mortal Kombat, what looks great on a video game doesn't always translate well onto like the big screen.
For sure.
It's kind of like the same thing with comics. I mean, we've all spoken about this before, like the X-Men costumes. Do you really want to see a whole bunch of people running around in spandex?
Yeah.
Like it's that whole aspect. And I think, some of the costumes, they look great in the games, will they translate well? And I think they've managed to capture it. It reminded me a little bit like, especially Scorpion and Sub-Zero's like, outfits. It looks like, real life ninjas, like a lot of the stuff like with those clans and, just those subtle nuances that they brought in for the characters to look really good. And they started doing that, I remember, in the Legacy series as well. Like the costumes just looked upgraded. They looked really great on the big screen. Well, in that stage, a small screen.
Yeah, it was the YouTube Machinima ones, right?
Yeah, it was. And I thought it just looked really cool. And now, obviously, they've got the opportunity to, make a live action movie. Obviously, got more of a budget than what the web series had. And I think the stuff looks really great. I think the costumes look amazing. I think the character designs look great. And I mean, I seriously, man, I was hyped already. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, it's no secret that this is probably like my most anticipated movie of the year.
No, dude.
Like, don't tell me anything about Black Widow or like any of this crap that Marvel's doing. It's Mortal Kombat, dude. That's literally it.
Dude, I don't blame you. I mean, like, speaking of budget, what do you think of the effects? I mean, look at Jax's arms. Look at like the ice. Look at like all the things. I mean, there was like Liu Kang's dragon at some stage.
Yes, the dragon was amazing. Like how you just, like you basically like hit the floor with a fire and he like conjures up as like,
that was dragon. Sick, dude. I sat there and I was like, hell yeah.
Dude, like, you know what? I loved Robin Shou as Liu Kang in the original Mortal Kombat series.
Yeah.
Like I thought he was perfectly cast. He's an incredible martial artist, an incredible actor. He was amazing. The only complaint I ever have about his character was that it didn't use like, that sort of like power as much as what we used to, those fireballs and stuff. Yes, there was elements of it. And I mean, he did turn into a dragon and it had animality in Annihilation. It was pretty bad. Yeah. But the thing is, like, I just found that they didn't lean into that too much. Like it kind of, they drifted away from that. And I kind of understand why, because it's also a product of its time. Obviously CGI isn't as advanced as what it is now.
100%.
And, the shots like that, it would have cost a lot of money, it would have been a lot of time to render that. So I get that. But like now that they've actually taken, Liu Kang, and they're like, you know what, this guy is like, he's OP. Let's make him OP. This is literally it. And I'm blown away by that, because I think this is exactly the Liu Kang I've been wanting to see on screen for ages.
Yeah.
And even like, dude, like Kung Lao looks amazing. I've seen like all the photos. It just like everything looks like it's coming together.
Yeah, it does look crazy. And speaking of, the original actors, like how would you feel about like potential cameos?
I heard that might be happening, funny enough.
Really? Because I feel like, why not? Like, the actors aren't like, so old that they can't be part of it. I mean, they're in their 40s, 50s. Maybe they could play a different character and just pop in a cameo. That would be awesome.
Look, I read somewhere, actually, I read somewhere that there's a potential, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Lyndon Ashby who played Johnny Cage.
Yeah.
They might be making a cameo appearance. So I don't know. I mean, the thing is, like, obviously it's an internet rumor. And I mean, look, if you believe 4chan, Robert Pattinson impregnated, Zoe Kravitz in the back of the set. So you can't really believe it all the time.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a possibility. It would be really cool. I think it'd be like a really nice tribute. I'd love to see Robin Shue return. Definitely, like a lot of the other characters, it would be cool. Like I kind of see it if they do bring in Lyndon Ashby. It would be cool for him to be like towards the end credit scene or like post credit scene. He's basically Johnny Cage's manager or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get him into like the next tournament. Like I think that would be like a really cool post credit scene. I mean, obviously that's just in my mind. I think that would be really cool. Like he'd be Johnny Cage's agent, and I think that would be like a nice closing of the loop in the story.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly. In fact, that's the first thing I thought is like imagine him as Johnny's agent, because I remember in the movie there was that role with Johnny's agent. He was like, don't worry about it. It carries on.
Yeah, so that would be really cool, to actually do something like that. And yeah, like you were saying, man, the special effects, I think they look pretty good. I think they look pretty decent. Obviously, we need to see the rest of the movie and like see how it plays out.
Yeah,
I know that one of the reasons why the trailer took quite as long as it did is that because of COVID, obviously they couldn't do a lot of the reshoots that they already had planned. So it obviously delayed the process. I mean, this movie should have been out by now already. It was supposed to come out in January. So they obviously had to do the reshoots. I think it was in November last year. Then they've obviously got to get the material. Then they've got to cut what they're going to put in the trailer and obviously work on the special effects and make sure that everything's right to go out. And look, from what they've put out, it looks really cool. Sub-Zero's ice effects look amazing.
Yeah. Even the little scene of Scorpion kicking ass in the village and like popping the sphere through people's heads and blood splattering everywhere.
Yeah, it looks great. So I think, it looks really well done. I mean, James Wan is the producer behind this, and I don't think he'd want his name associated to something he doesn't feel strongly about.
Yeah.
I mean, James Wan is a legend. So, you know what, if he's not directing the movie, but he's producing it, like I'm pretty certain the people that he chose to do this movie like are the best. I mean, I know Simon McCoy, the director, this is his first feature-length film, but he's done a lot of other stuff. He actually did a lot of ad work as well, funny enough. And his ads are amazing. Like if you actually go look at some of the stuff he's done, he's really got an eye for all the stuff. So I'm not worried about that. It's kind of like the likes of David Fincher. Like, when they first did their first couple movies as well, they came from nowhere and they blew everybody's mind. So it's like, a lot of people are worried, first time director. I'm like, no, you got to start somewhere. And if you don't give them all a comment, well, dude, you just lucked out.
Yeah, no, that's seasoned. So 100%, I think with big names on the project, there's a certain standard to uphold. So that gives you a bit of surety walking into the movie theater or, into your HBO Max lounge.
Exactly. So yeah, man, I'm super pumped for this. Like, I don't know if there will be a second trailer. I'd imagine there should probably be one. Maybe like sometime in March they'll release like a second trailer to get people hyped, and then obviously drop the movie in April. But man, this movie comes out a week before my birthday, so it's the perfect gift.
Comes out a week after my birthday.
Exactly. So we are receiving a present here. We need to thank the elder gods for what they have blessed us with in 2021, which is a Mortal Kombat movie that we are so psyched about. There are going to be fatalities and blood. Like literally, there's nothing more we want.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, thank you so much for joining me. I'm still super pumped. We are probably going to be discussing Mortal Kombat for like days to come.
For sure.
But yeah, I mean, thanks again. And to everybody else listening, let us know what you thought of the trailer. Drop us a comment down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, cheers.